Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me very carefully. What I am about to share may challenge everything you have ever believed about your struggles, your failures, and your current mental state. You see, there are two kinds of people in this world. There are those who go through life defeated, tired, and complaining, merely surviving one day at a time. And then there are those who stand tall in the face of adversity, who smile when others break, who rise when others quit, and who ultimately win. The difference between them is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is not formal education. The difference is what I call a positive mental attitude. And let me be very clear, this is not merely thinking happy thoughts. This is not a surface-level optimism. This is not just plastering a smile on your face when your soul is breaking inside. No, a positive mental attitude is a spiritual power. It is the ability to see through the fog of difficulty and still act with faith, precision, and purpose. It is the only known antidote to failure, and it is the absolute foundation of all lasting success. I spent over 25 years of my life interviewing the most powerful men of our time. Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller. These were men who built empires, not because life was easy for them, but because they cultivated this indestructible success mindset. They did not fear failure. They invited it. They did not surrender to setbacks. They studied them. They did not collapse under pressure. They learned the art of transmuting defeat into victory, and you can do the very same thing. But first, let me ask you a question. What is controlling your mind today? Is it fear, doubt, self-pity, and resentment? Or is it faith, purpose, gratitude, and burning desire? Because the mind does not remain neutral, it is always under the influence of something. If you do not consciously direct it, the world will direct it for you. If you do not master it, negative forces will. This is a profound truth I discovered only when I finally confronted my greatest enemy, myself. Listen to me now. Your mental attitude is the only thing over which you have complete, unchallenged, and unchallengeable control. You can control it if you truly wish to. This truth will either set you free or it will offend all of your excuses. Because what you believe, you ultimately become. What you think about, you attract. What you dwell upon, you will eventually live out. You might say, but I've tried to stay positive, and life just keeps hitting me. Then I must ask you, what is your definiteness of purpose? Because no man can develop a strong mental attitude without a goal so burning, so consuming, so magnificent, that even failure trembles in its presence. Show me a man without a purpose, and I will show you a man who drifts. And the drifter, my friend, is always under the control of his weaker self. But show me a man who knows exactly what he wants, who wakes up with fire in his belly and a clear vision in his mind, and I will show you a man who cannot be broken. To develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, you must first decide exactly what you want. You must believe, without a shadow of wavering, that you will achieve it. And you must act daily in harmony with that belief. No excuses, no waiting for motivation, no depending on outside circumstances. Let me tell you something that most people will never have the courage to tell you. The world does not owe you encouragement. The universe does not pause to comfort your weakness, but it will always, always reward definiteness of purpose when it is backed by unwavering faith. When a man finally decides that he will not quit, that he will not surrender to negative thinking, and that his mind is his own, not his enemy's, then something magical begins to happen. He starts to attract what he needs. The right people appear. New opportunities emerge. A strength he never knew he possessed begins to flood his being. And failure begins to fear him. But this powerful transformation only begins when you understand this next vital secret. Negative thoughts are not casual visitors. They are invaders. If you tolerate them, they will take over your home, your mind. If you entertain them, they will eat away at your purpose from the inside. And if you let them linger, they will convince you to quit on the very thing you were placed on this earth to achieve. This is why you must practice what I call cosmic housekeeping. You must take a daily inventory of what you are thinking. You must monitor your inner speech. And when you catch your mind drifting toward fear, doubt, worry, or resentment, you must stop it, just as you would stop a criminal at your door. You must immediately replace it with gratitude. Replace it with faith. Replace it with the voice of power that declares, I was not born to be broken. I was not created to be weak. I am made of the same substance that built mountains, that formed galaxies, that breathes through the lungs of champions. Now, let me address the biggest lie that keeps so many people weak, the idea that I'm just not a positive person. Rubbish. You were not born positive or negative. You were conditioned. Your environment trained you. Your past experiences shaped you. But nothing is set in stone unless you allow it to be. What has been learned can be unlearned. What has been programmed can be rewritten. The key is repetition. You become what you repeatedly do. You believe what you repeatedly say, and your mindset will inevitably reflect the dominant thoughts you choose to entertain over time. So if you want to develop an unbreakable mental attitude, you must start with this. Control your input. Feed your mind daily with faith, courage, and truth. Speak words of power even when you feel pain. Read the words of greatness until they burn inside your soul. There is no shortcut. There is no hack, but there is a proven path. And it begins with one single decision, the decision that no matter what life throws at you, your attitude is yours. It does not belong to your enemies, your critics, or your past. It belongs to you. And that, my friend, is the true beginning of personal power. If you want to develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, then you must understand the principle of autosuggestion. What is autosuggestion? It is the method by which your subconscious mind becomes the soil for either weeds or for fruit. Whatever you repeatedly say to yourself, whether it is truth or a lie, your mind will accept, absorb, and ultimately believe. Your success is always preceded by a conversation, not with someone else, but with yourself. Your inner dialogue is either the architect of your greatness, or it is the silent assassin of your dreams. The man who rises each day and declares, "I will win, I will persist, I will not be denied," begins to shape his reality through the sheer momentum of mental faith. The man who wakes up and says, "Nothing ever works for me, I'm tired, I can't do this," that man dies before he even leaves his bed. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief must be forged daily through repetition. It is not enough to hope just once. You must condition the mind like a muscle daily, intentionally, and ruthlessly. Take 5 minutes each morning to speak life into your purpose. Not passively, not softly, but with fire, with strength, and with clarity. Say, "I am powerful beyond measure. My purpose burns stronger than my fear. I attract exactly what I need because I expect nothing less." You may not feel it at first. That is normal. The subconscious is not changed by fleeting feelings. It is changed by repetition, backed by genuine emotion. Say it again and again and again until the voice of victory becomes louder than the voice of doubt. Now, let's go deeper. An unbreakable attitude is also impossible without self-discipline. You cannot master your emotions if you cannot master your habits. You cannot hold a positive vibration if you are held captive by negative rituals. Discipline is the bridge between thought and reality. Without it, your good intentions are merely dreams and your destiny is indefinitely delayed. The men I studied, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Schwab, they did not rise on talent alone. They rose because they governed themselves. They understood that the man who cannot control his thinking, his time, and his appetites is a slave in a world that was designed for kings. So I ask you, what do you tolerate that weakens your spirit? What distractions do you invite that delay your progress? What comforts do you cling to that are robbing you of your future? An unbreakable mental attitude is not born in comfort. It is born in discipline under pressure. It is forged when you say, "I will read instead of scroll. I will rise instead of sleep. I will speak power instead of complaint." Because every single time you choose discipline over impulse, your inner strength grows. And every time you surrender to ease, your potential dies a little more. Now let's talk about perhaps the most vital truth I discovered after years of studying success and failure. It is this: every adversity, every setback, carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. If you truly, deeply believe that, you can never truly lose. You may bleed, you may fall, you may suffer, but you will never be broken because you will know that this is not the end. It is merely the test that comes before your elevation. Look back on your own life. Your greatest lessons did not come in times of comfort. They came in moments of collapse. Your greatest clarity did not arrive when things were easy. It arrived when the storm hit, and you had to decide whether to drown or to rise. So I say to you, develop the habit of expecting the good and the bad. Train your mind to say, this pain is preparing me, this failure is redirecting me, this delay is protecting me, and what happens, you become unshakable. You become dangerous to defeat, because life cannot hurt a man who grows stronger every single time he is hit. Now let me reveal another core teaching from my life's work. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are only ever a victim of your response to circumstance. Two men can face the exact same setback. One becomes bitter while the other becomes better. The difference? Mental attitude. When life slaps you across the face, you get to decide, will I curse it or will I bless it as the teacher that it is? When someone betrays you, you get to decide, will I become resentful or will I become wiser and stronger in my boundaries? You cannot always control what happens to you, but you always control what it becomes within you. This is the great secret of a positive mental attitude. It doesn't remove difficulty. It redefines it. It doesn't stop the storm. It teaches you how to walk through it with purpose. Now, let me warn you, there will be people who hate your new mindset. They will mock your optimism. They will call you delusional, unrealistic, or naive. You must ignore them. Most people are addicted to mediocrity. They have made a habit of hopelessness. They feel threatened by anyone who dares to rise while they have made their comfort with crawling. You must cut off mental infection at its source. Surround yourself only with those who speak life. Avoid those who feed your fears. Tell me who your influences are, and I will tell you who you are becoming. Tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you the limits of your future. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. If you spend your time in darkness, do not expect your mind to shine. You must choose carefully what you allow to influence your attitude, because what enters your ears will inevitably enter your spirit. Finally, let me leave you with this empowering truth. You do not need anyone's permission to develop this power. You do not need a degree, a title, or anyone's approval. You need only one thing, a decision to own your thoughts, a decision to lead your mind instead of being led by it, a decision to become the kind of person that nothing can break because your attitude simply refuses to surrender. If you make that decision today, if you say, from this moment forward, I no longer rent my attitude to my circumstances, I own it, I lead it, I protect it, then you are already halfway to greatness. Because the world will always bend to the will of those who stand tall in spirit, even when their body is weary. Stand tall, my friend. You have made it this far. That tells me something important about you. It tells me you are no longer content to merely survive. You want to master life, and all personal development and mastery begins in the mind. The final layer of building an unbreakable positive mental attitude is this. You must have a chief definite aim. Without a clear purpose, the mind drifts. Without a burning goal, the mind wanders like a leaf in the wind, pushed and pulled by every fear, doubt, and distraction. You must anchor your mind to something greater than your own comfort. You must wake up every single day with a reason so powerful, so vivid, so deeply personal, that nothing can shake it out of you. Not fear, not failure, not fatigue. Your definite chief aim is not just a goal, it is your identity in action. It is who you are becoming, directed by vision and sustained by obsession. Every man I ever studied who rose to greatness had this. They didn't just kind of want it, they didn't merely hope for it, they lived it. Their purpose was not just something they did, it was something they became. Ask yourself, what do I want so badly that I am willing to suffer for it? What do I crave so deeply that I am willing to be misunderstood, ridiculed, doubted, and even alone to achieve it? What kind of life would make me feel that every breath I took was worth the pain? Once you have that answer, burn it into your subconscious. Read it aloud every morning and every night. Feel it as if it is already done. Speak it with raw emotion. Write it in stone. Because vague desires will only ever produce vague results. But crystal clarity commands the attention of the universe. And once you are clear, once your purpose is fixed in your mind like the North Star, your positive mental attitude will become not just your shield, but your sword. Now listen to me carefully. The man who has a purpose and who protects his mental attitude becomes truly unstoppable. He may be delayed, but he is never denied. He may fall, but he always rises again. He may struggle, but he never retreats. Why? Because he understands that attitude is the hinge upon which the doors of destiny swing. Your attitude determines whether a failure becomes fuel or your finish. It determines whether a loss becomes a lesson or a lifelong excuse. It determines whether a hardship becomes your downfall or the foundation of your rise. But you must protect that attitude like a warrior guards his sword. You must defend it from all negative influence. This includes toxic people, poisonous media, and your own inner critic. You must reject mental laziness. You must reject gossip, self-pity, and any thought that lowers your energy. You must embrace a philosophy of responsibility. No matter what life throws at you, take ownership. Own it, shape it, and rise from it. Never, ever let another person or a temporary situation decide the ultimate meaning of your life. That power is yours and yours alone. Now, allow me to speak directly to your heart. As a man who has spent his entire life studying the greats and lifting up the forgotten, I tell you this, you are not here by accident. You were created with a purpose. You have something that the world genuinely needs. Your very existence is proof that your destiny is real. But it will not manifest if your mind is filled with fear, self-doubt, and excuses. Your primary job is to cleanse your inner world. Feed your mind the words of greatness, read the biographies of giants, speak your affirmations with conviction, take bold action every single day. And above all, think thoughts that lift you, that expand you, that empower you, and that direct you forward. Every time you do this, you grow. Every time you allow fear to control your mind, you shrink. That is the choice you face every single day. Now, let me give you a rule that has never failed me, a crucial life lesson for all. Act as if it were impossible to fail. I do not say this lightly. I say it because fear has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. The fear of failure is what keeps men small. The anticipation of defeat is often more powerful than defeat itself. But what happens if you remove the very possibility of failure from your mind? What if you say, I cannot fail, I can only learn, I cannot lose, I can only adjust, I cannot break, I can only bend and bounce back stronger? That, my friend, is real power. That is the seed of an unbreakable mind. Because when you think this way, you no longer hesitate. You move, you speak, you create, you command, and in that commanding posture, fear runs, doubt flees, and the world responds. Confidence is magnetic. Certainty is rare. And those who possess both become leaders by spirit, not just by title. Now hear me well. No man ever succeeded entirely alone. But likewise, no man ever succeeded who waited for others to believe in him first. You must believe when others laugh. You must stand when others sit. You must speak when others mock. You must lead, even if you are still in the process of becoming what you speak of, because the world will always follow those who dare to be mentally invincible. So let me summarize what you now possess, if you only dare to live it: a mind that sees opportunity in every single obstacle, a voice that speaks power into your soul daily, a purpose so clear, so consuming, that fear has no room to breathe, a discipline so consistent that weakness becomes irrelevant, and a mindset so positive, so unshakable, that the gates of hell cannot stop your progress. This is not a fantasy. This is the law. These principles are eternal. They worked for Carnegie, they worked for Edison, they worked for Ford, and they will work for you if you work them. So the question is not, will they work? The question is, will you? Will you rise and claim your attitude daily? Will you speak with strength even when your circumstances are weak? Will you persist when everything inside of you wants to quit? Because if you do, then you will not only build success, you will build a life worth living, a life of depth, a life of greatness, a life that impacts generations long after your name is spoken for the final time. That is the ultimate power of an unbreakable positive mental attitude. And it is yours right now if you decide it is. So I ask you, as your guide, as your mentor, and as a man who gave his life to the study of success and leadership, will you decide? Because in that moment of decision, your destiny begins. And from this day forward, let your every thought, your every word, and your every action declare to the world, I am unshakable. I am unstoppable. I am unbreakable. And so it is. If you don't learn to control your mind, someone else will. And that's exactly why most people never become who they're meant to be. Every minor comment, every small setback, if these things disturb your peace, then you are surrendering your power to the world. The truth is this, the most unshakable individuals do not face fewer problems. They have simply mastered the way they respond to them. Imagine moving through life unfazed. No overthinking. No emotional outbursts. Just total command over your inner world. In this lesson, you will learn how to train your mind to act as if nothing bothers you, not by suppressing emotions, but by rising above them. Once you acquire this skill, nothing and no one will ever control you again. Life is full of noise, opinions, frustrations, judgment, unexpected challenges. The world is relentless in its attempts to distract and provoke you. But strength is not found in reacting to every disturbance. True power comes from mastering the art of emotional detachment. Picture yourself walking through a storm without flinching. This is calmness in its highest form. This is inner dominance. When you allow outside events to dictate your mood, you become a puppet to circumstances. But when you train your mind to remain unmoved, you become the master of your destiny. The world respects the one who remains calm in chaos, who does not crumble under pressure. Such a person commands authority without saying a word. Think of history's most influential figures. They were not impulsive. They were not easily shaken. They moved with a quiet confidence, as if they possessed insight that others couldn't see. Their strength came not from aggression, but from